The dark secret behind rejection. No one has told you this yet, but the dark secret behind rejection is that it's not just a simple social setback, it's a deep, primal wound that affects us on a level we rarely acknowledge. And here's the kicker, it doesn't just mess with your emotions, it messes with your mind and body too. Rejection triggers the same areas in your brain that respond to physical pain. Yes, it's like being punched in the gut, but with words. But what if I told you that understanding this pain, embracing it, even could be the key to unlocking a level of strength and resilience you never knew you had? Welcome back to the channel, where today we're going to take a deep dive into something we've all faced at one point or another: rejection. Whether it's the sting of unrequited love, the disappointment of a failed job application, or even the hurt of being excluded from a social circle, rejection is a universal experience. But here's the thing, while rejection might feel like the end of the world in the moment, it's actually an incredible opportunity for growth if you know how to harness it. And that's exactly what we're going to explore today through the lens of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that offers timeless wisdom on how to turn pain into power. But before we dive into all of that, I want to hear from you. Have you ever been rejected? How did it make you feel? What did you do to bounce back? Drop a comment below and let's start a conversation. Your experience might just be the inspiration someone else needs. Section 1. The primal pain of rejection. All right, let's get into it. Everyone, at some point, has faced rejection. Maybe it was the job you really wanted, that special someone who didn't feel the same way, or even a friend who slowly drifted away. And when it happens, it feels like a punch to the gut, doesn't it? But why is that? Why does rejection hit us so hard, sometimes harder than a physical injury? Well, the answer lies deep within our biology. You see, our brains are hardwired to treat social rejection almost like physical pain. In fact, neuroscientific studies have shown that the same areas of our brain that get activated when we feel physical pain also light up when we experience rejection. This isn't just some psychological metaphor, this is real, tangible pain. Think about that for a second. The next time someone brushes you off or turns you down, your brain is literally responding as if you've been physically hurt. Why is that? Why would our brains be wired this way? The answer goes back thousands of years to our ancestors who lived in tight-knit tribes. For them, being rejected by the group wasn't just an emotional blow, it was a death sentence. If you were cast out, you were alone, and being alone meant being vulnerable to predators, starvation, and the elements. So, our brains evolved to treat rejection as a major threat, something to be avoided at all costs. But here's the thing, we're not living in those times anymore. Yet, our brains still react to rejection as if our very survival is on the line. That's why, even in today's world, where rejection doesn't mean death, it can still feel like the end of the world. However, this is where Stoicism comes into play. This ancient philosophy can help us reframe rejection, so it doesn't have to feel like a life or death situation anymore. Section 2. Stoicism, the ancient blueprint for dealing with rejection. Now let's talk about Stoicism. This isn't just some old, dusty philosophy, it's a practical guide to living a resilient, empowered life. The Stoics had a lot to say about rejection, and their insights are just as relevant today as they were 2,000 years ago. At the heart of Stoicism is the idea that we should focus only on what we can control and let go of everything else. Sounds simple, right? But think about how revolutionary this idea is when it comes to rejection. Most of the time, when we're rejected, we feel like it's a reflection of our worth. We internalize that rejection and let it define us. But the Stoics would argue that this is exactly the wrong approach. They believe that nothing is inherently good or bad, everything is neutral until we assign it a value. So that rejection you're feeling crushed by, it's only as devastating as you allow it to be. Here's how Stoicism can help you reframe rejection. First, remember the dichotomy of control. There are things you can control: your thoughts, your actions, your responses. And there are things you can't control: other people's opinions, their actions, their feelings. When you're rejected, what you're really facing is something outside your control. You can't force someone to like you, to hire you, to accept you, but you can control how you respond to that rejection. The Stoics also teach us to view challenges as opportunities for growth. Rejection, then, isn't a failure, it's feedback. It's a moment to pause and reflect, to ask yourself what you can learn from this experience. Maybe it's an opportunity to improve a skill, to redirect your energy towards something more aligned with your values, or to simply recognize that this wasn't the right path for you. Whatever the case, rejection is not the end, it's the beginning of something new, if you let it be. I'm curious, have you ever tried applying Stoic principles in your life? If so, how has it helped you deal with tough situations like rejection? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story could be just what someone else needs to hear today. Section 3. Practical Stoicism, turning rejection into resilience. So, let's get practical. How exactly do we take these Stoic principles and apply them to our everyday lives, especially when dealing with rejection? Here are some actionable steps that can help you turn rejection into a powerful tool for personal growth. First off, practice the dichotomy of control. This is the cornerstone of Stoic thought and the key to dealing with rejection in a healthy way. The next time you face rejection, ask yourself, what can I control in this situation? And what is completely out of my hands? By focusing only on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your responses, you'll find that the sting of rejection starts to lose its power. It's not about pretending the rejection didn't happen or that it doesn't hurt, it's about acknowledging it and then choosing not to let it define you. Next, shift your perspective. This is where Stoicism really shines. Instead of seeing rejection as a personal failure, start viewing it as valuable feedback. What can you learn from this experience? Maybe it's telling you that this wasn't the right opportunity, that you need to refine your approach, or that there's something else out there that's a better fit for you. Remember, the Stoics believe that nothing is inherently good or bad, it's all about how we choose to perceive it. So, choose to see rejection as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. Another powerful Stoic practice is premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. This sounds grim, but it's actually a technique that can help you build resilience. The idea is to mentally prepare yourself for potential setbacks, including rejection, before they happen. By imagining the worst-case scenario and accepting it as a possibility, you can reduce the shock and emotional impact when things don't go as planned. This doesn't mean you should become pessimistic or expect the worst all the time. Rather, it's about being mentally prepared so that when rejection happens, you're not caught off guard. And finally, practice self-compassion. The Stoics were big on self-discipline, but they also understood the importance of being kind to oneself. Rejection can often lead to negative self-talk. I'm not good enough, I'll never succeed, why does this always happen to me? But this kind of thinking only deepens the wound. Instead, remind yourself that rejection is a universal experience. Everyone goes through it, and it doesn't diminish your worth in any way. Be kind to yourself, give yourself time to heal, and remember that this is just one moment in a much larger journey. What's one thing you've learned from a past rejection that made you stronger? Share your insights in the comments below. Your wisdom could be the guiding light someone else needs. Section 4. The power of letting go is Stoic's final word. Now, let's talk about one of the hardest things to do when dealing with rejection: letting go. It's easy to say, just move on, but in practice, it's a lot more challenging. That's where Stoic philosophy can offer some profound guidance. The Stoics believe that the key to peace of mind lies in our ability to let go of what we cannot control. This means letting go of the need for approval, the desire for things to be different, and the hope that we can change what has already happened. It's about accepting reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. Think about it. When you hold onto the pain of rejection, you're essentially chaining yourself to the past. You're allowing something that's already over to continue affecting your present and future. But when you let go, when you truly release that need for validation from others, you free yourself. You reclaim your power. You start living for yourself, not for the approval of others. But how do you actually do this? Start by practicing mindfulness. Pay attention to your thoughts and notice when you're dwelling on a rejection. Instead of pushing those thoughts away or trying to force yourself to feel differently, simply observe them. Acknowledge the pain, but don't let it take over. Remind yourself that this is just one moment in time, one experience among many, and that it doesn't define you. Another technique is to focus on gratitude. This might seem counterintuitive. Why be grateful when you've just been rejected? But shifting your focus to what you do have, rather than what you've lost, can help you gain perspective. Maybe you didn't get that job, but what other opportunities are still available to you? Maybe that relationship didn't work out, but what have you learned about yourself in the process? Gratitude helps you see the bigger picture and prevents you from getting stuck in a negative loop. Finally, embrace the Stoic practice of amor fati, or love of fate. This means accepting everything that happens to you, the good, the bad, and the ugly, is necessary and even beneficial. Instead of resisting or resenting rejection, try to see it as part of your journey, something that's helping to shape you into the person you're meant to be. When you can love your fate, even the painful parts, you'll find that rejection no longer has the power to hurt you. Instead, it becomes a stepping stone on the path to becoming your best self. If you've made it this far, congratulations, you're well on your way to mastering the Stoic approach to life. Now, take a moment to think about something you've been holding on to that's outside of your control. How would it feel to just let it go? Let's talk about it in the comments. Sometimes just sharing can be the first step toward freedom. So, that's it for today's video. Remember, rejection is a part of life, but it doesn't have to define you. By embracing Stoic principles, you can turn rejection into a powerful tool for growth and resilience. Focus on what you can control, let go of the rest, and keep moving forward. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on more life-changing wisdom. And as always, drop your thoughts in the comments. I love hearing from you. And who knows, your story might just inspire someone else to see rejection in a whole new light. See you next time.